All right, Patrick. We've been teasing it throughout the playoffs, but it's now official. Andrew Wiggins is an NBA champion as of last night.
Boy, talk
Amazing.
about a punch in the face for the Celtics that they're kind of going along doing well. 21 in a row, the Warriors score, and ended with a big old run and dunk by Wiggy. Uh, Open court created by great shooting has, for all the other things we can talk about stability and everything, there's room for him to operate now, and he's
Yeah.
gotten more aggressive, obviously. But when you got three shooters you have to guard instead of none, it's helped his game, I would say, quite a bit. And the fact that what has shocked me more than anything is the fact he's become a defensive ace. That's really strange. But somebody reminded me that when he came out of college, one reason he didn't come out. When he came out of 1 year of college, they were talking about what a great defender he could become. He's 6'8". That's that athletic of a guy. And he's gotten bigger and thicker. But he's 6'8". He should be able to guard people, and he finally decided to. What's interesting isn't the Warriors statistically one of the top three defensive teams in the league?
I think they were number one in defensive net rating in the regular season, and everyone was Boston's defense. I'm pretty sure the Warriors were number one in defensive net rating. Yeah.
And the Celtics might have been too. I mean, the Celtics are mean and nasty, and but boy, they. The last three, and they that one I thought my feeling was they'd be playing Game 7 Sunday, but nope. It's the Celtics. I mean, the Celtics let them just run through them on that 21-point run, and that did her. Celtics have only won once since '86. Is that true?
Yeah. The
KG
2008.
Yeah, 2008. They've only won once since then. Wow. Yeah. The NBA was kind of boring when the Celtics were winning 10 out of 11. Was it 10 straight titles, right? 10 straight titles.
Oh, and and playoffs were what, Pat, at that time? Like two rounds into the finals then?
Well, when the Lakers won all their titles, they're here in Minneapolis, 5 or 6. Few times it was in an 8-team league.
Yeah.
It was, in 1 year they made the Western Conference Finals after a 25-50 regular season because the top three made the playoffs out of the 4, and then they upset somebody in the first round, and I think they went Elgin Baylor's rookie year. I think they went like 7 games in the Western Conference Finals against the St. Louis Hawks after being 25-50. So a lot of those, the great mystique of the Lakers, the league was anywhere from 8 to 10 teams basically during that whole run. And some of the Celtics, even with the Celtics, it was still a 16-team league, 18-team league, something like that. Not even, I don't even know it was 16 back then. So anyway, it's a little different now. And plus you got to win 16 games. So, but yeah, Steph was something, wasn't he?
Man. It's amazing. Yeah, he is. Some of those shots he was hitting in the second half, too.
Oh, he made one. Jeff Van Gundy, I heard during that stretch, he says, I love Van Gundy. He's great. He says, you know how good a shot that, what a good made shot that was.
Yeah.
You know how good that was. It's like his mind gets blown, and he tells you, he doesn't routinely tell you something is extraordinary. He's not screaming and hollering. So when he tells you something is extraordinary, you can believe it. And that's, we all thought he would come back to coaching sometime. And
the Wolves at one point.
He just decided to stay there and make, our old Judd, our old friend Selena Roberts, when she first went to the New York Times, she covered him. She covered I think she first covered the Nets, and then she had Van Gundy. She used to say, you never saw a guy suffer like him. I mean, win, lose, the next day at practice, he was just horribly depressed every day because they either were coming off a loss or he was going to lose the next one. He was worried about that. He was just had the eyes that looked like he hadn't slept for 3 days and stuff like that. So he's probably found a really good occupation for himself.
What do you make of Steve Kerr? So this is Steve Kerr's 9th championship as a player and as a coach. But even after the game, he was asked about that, and he said, "Well, when you hang around superstars like Michael Jordan and Steph Curry and Tim Duncan, you're going to get 9 rings."
I think he's a pretty sharp dude, isn't he? I talked to Ryan Saunders yesterday about the Wiggy some, and he had Ryan after he got fired, and I think earlier this year he had Ryan out there for a week, watching him practice, hanging out with him in practice, just the NBA coaching. I think it's unlike hockey and football and everything. They're like, you get fired and everybody's your buddy. He had Tibbs out there, the year Tibbs was sitting out. Tibbs was a consultant out there with Kerr for a while. And I think he's a pretty neat guy. And I love the fact that he dings up people on the political front once in a while and he doesn't care about it because he's in San Francisco and can get away with it, right? So,
well, Pop too, though. Pop dings him up. Pop does too, Pop and he does not give
from Texas, by the way.
From Texas, yeah. Really he goes around Texas. Yeah, it's great.
Is Pop? I thought for sure this was going to be the end, didn't you? But
what's he waiting for at this point? He wants to push the rock up the hill again? I mean,
I don't think he can. It ain't happening again. You're not going to have David Robinson have a lousy year and then get Tim Duncan to play with him. That ain't happening again, buddy. That's you're not going to be that lucky. So, but I don't know. Maybe he's just possessed by it. He can't give it up. So maybe that's it. But
exactly.
And anyway, it was Boston was. I thought they'd be a tougher out than they were. That's for sure. Although they were leading at 2-1, right? And so Warriors won the last 3. So.
Yes. So Pat, where do you put this one on the guys who got away? Because I don't put this one like Ortiz was just a massive screw up. If Wiggy stays here, and this is both an indictment of him and the team, it's not like I think greatness is to come. Like I think that he got that chance, and so I don't see this as being on the same, as like an Ortiz or one where you say, what the hell, if this guy, stayed here, he could have achieved the same type of success.
Yeah, no, heavens no. He wouldn't have accomplished this kind of thing for sure. But what you got in return makes you question it, doesn't it? I mean, D'Lo.
Giving up the first round pick is my biggest question, more so than the straight up swap.
I don't even think that kid played last. He didn't play much, but he's 19, and they think he's going to be a player.
They're gonna add him next year, basically, to a championship team.
They're gonna let him start playing. Yeah, it's I was not on Russell from the beginning. I saw him play enough to just throw it up in the general direction and hope they went in when he was with the Nets. And anybody that's number 2 overall pick and is on his 4th team, 3 years later, there's something wrong there. It is, what makes it. They got him there. They got him to play defense. He's got open court to play in. Somebody told me they thought that one of the best things that happened to him was last year when all those guys were hurt. Clay was hurt and those guys weren't playing. He actually had to become, Steph missed a bunch of games. He had to become the man there, and he found out he could be a little better, than he was. He could be better than he thought with effort. So yeah, it's not a great loss, but it is fun teasing Timberwolves fans about it because they hated him so much, right? So he was the source of all evil. And by the way, everybody I talked to, the Butler meltdown, I think I said this the other day, the Butler meltdown was aimed more directly at Cat than it ever was at Wiggins.
Yeah, we're finding that out for sure.
Yeah. He's that could have been personal too, that one with Cat, right?
There's some chatter that it ran a little deeper than basketball.
Yes, there was some chatter.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Just some chatter, some steam, some
reckless speculation,
some whispers that it ran a little deeper than basketball.
He averaged the most minutes of a Warrior in this playoff series. I think he 41 minutes or something like that. And he last night he played more than anybody. He played 43-40 last night. The one thing about him, you got to say, even here, he always played, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I mean, his games played are incredible. He's
just
missed
like
about 3.
Yeah.
He's missed about 3 in his career.
I'm really curious. So he has one more year left on this max contract that the Warriors now occupy. He's in such a perfect spot, but there's no way they're going to bring him back at $30+ million a year. So and he's made enough. So
I think if he's smart, nobody's going to bust the bank because they don't trust him to be the guy, So, but who knows? I mean, some people are.
I guess my question is, would he stay with the Warriors for $8 to $10 million less than a needier team looking for a second star? I don't think he's ever the number one star, but
no. The only reason he might want to move is Steph's getting old, and Steph's 33, and Clay's had his problems, and Draymond can't keep it up. He can't be a 6'6" center in this league too much longer. So I don't know. I don't know what how his agent is driven, but he certainly should enjoy one more year with him. That's for sure.
The NBA is kind of funny, Pat. I was looking around on Basketball Reference last night, just snooping around Steph Curry and just looking at the history and stuff. So Steph Curry was part of 3 losing Warriors teams, and then Mark Jackson came along, I think, in the third of those, and then his first coach with the Warriors, Steph Curry, was Don Nelson back in 2009.
Donnie, who was a huge Don Nelson Warriors fan before anybody else? The Dark Man. The Dark Man had always stayed up and watched the Warriors because he liked the way they ran up and down the floor and scored 130 points and gave up 140 points. But Nelson was, like that fast basketball. So the Dark Man had always, hey, you want to come over and watch the Warriors tonight? No, I don't. Thank you.
Yeah, I feel like Don Nelson, because Don Nelson never won a championship. Mike D'Antoni and Don Nelson are sort of and Nelson before D'Antoni, the godfathers of the spread them out, fast pace, shoot a bunch of threes, but they never paid it off with a championship.
Well, the Bucks, he had some really good Bucks team that you just knew weren't quite good enough to win it. But Marcus Johnson and that collection there. But he was. I don't know. He was always looked like a guy who was burdened by life. Don't you think, Don? He just didn't ever look like he was happy.
He looked like a guy who post game went out and probably did things that weren't great for his health.
I think he had some. I think he liked his alcohol. Yes, he did. Do you know where he played college ball, fellas?
No.
University of Iowa. He was a Hawkeye.
Oh, did he really?
Does not seem like a Hawkeye, but he was a Hawkeye. Yes, he was a very good player.
Do you know what he does now?
Consults, probably.
So better than that. There's a story from 2 years ago here, and by the way, he looks like Jeff Bridges, the hippie version of Jeff Bridges. Yeah. So he is now a marijuana farmer.
See, really? I told you. He enjoyed the post game.
In California, where it's legal.
Back in February, this is from 3 years ago. Back in February, ahead of a Golden State Warriors game in Oracle Arena, Don Nelson was asked what he'd been up to since retiring from coaching. Quote, "I've been smoking some pot, but I never smoked when I was a player or coached, so it's all new to me."
Yeah, sure.
So he grows marijuana on his farm in Maui. His pot that he calls Nelly Kush is not for sale. It's for personal medicinal use only.
Well, how much is he? If he calls himself a farmer, how much is he?
Reusse,
is he making bail?
Reusse, I think we got your last act. The last chapter of the Reusse career.
I can't smoke.
Marijuana farmer.
I can't smoke I can't swallow the smoke. Hey, what is wrong with this damn state? Let's get our financial house in order with sports gambling and marijuana growing.
Yeah. Agreed.
Let's go. Forget all this other nonsense. Let's go. Let's start. All those fields now that aren't making as much money on beans as they'd like to, let them start growing.
We're such a weird state there in that politically it's a blue state. We vote liberal. It's much more 50-50 than but it's a blue state that leans so far toward social conservatism in terms of marijuana and gambling, and it's weird.
Yeah,
it's very
odd. Let's get going here.
And by the way, okay, so is the expansion of DraftKings, is it going to lead to more gambling addiction? Listen, you can't watch ESPN for more than 5 minutes without an alcohol ad being thrown in your face. We don't care about the alcoholics out there. What do we care about?
Half the baseball games have the betting numbers on the crawl now. As the game, what was I watching? ESPN the other night or one of the games? They change it. Now it gets to be the 8th inning, and you can still bet the team that's losing, but it's like
it's incredible.
It's the whole. They change the betting odds during the game as it's progressing. You don't just get the pregame, for God's sakes.
This country is about one thing: excess. Let's not worry about people who can't do it. Okay, I can't handle gambling. Okay, well that's your problem. I want excess.
That's true.
There's counselors for you. It's great.
Yeah, we are about excess.
You got cured of gambling, right?
Yeah, early by you, who said you're an idiot, and I said, you're right. Yeah, Pat's like you are a moron to be gambling on sports, and that was in the bookie days, Pat. Which, by the way, I miss bookies. Bring back bookies and scalpers selling real tickets.
Oh, I ran into a scalper at the Twins-Mariners game the other day. So, by the way, there's 7,000 fans are showing up to these games in Seattle, right?
Still scalping, huh?
And I'm walking down to, and of course, pulling the strings and using the connections. Old Macadac got to sit behind home plate. Anyways, so I'm walking over to the will call window, and this guy who's just standing there with sunglasses on and a jacket with his hands in his pockets. And as I walk by, he goes, "Box seats. You want some box seats?" I'm like, You still do this? This is still a thing.
Right.
It's like a dinosaur.
Yeah.
We discovered the scalper.
The Mariners have got to be extremely disappointed. Now, this was going to be the year. You won 90 games last year. You went out and got those two guys from Cincinnati.
Yeah.
And they can't score any runs.
No, they got, and their top prospect, that Jared Kelenic, or however you pronounce it, he's been a dud for 2 years.
Had to send him back. So,
but he's why you trade your prospects too. The Mets dealt him, and everyone said, "How can you deal this generational talent?" And guess what? He's back down. So
speaking of, has Kirilloff been called up yet? Is Kirilloff in
Arizona?
He's not hot enough.
They finally depressed him last night. He went 0 for 4 last night.
Oh, he's going to
that's all we needed to see.
Another week.
We had we had to wait for him to cool off before we decided to call him up. I don't know what the hell. I don't know what's going on.
Hey, who's your? We probably should have asked you this earlier, but who's your U.S. Open pick? You think Phil's going to come back from a 79 to 78 yesterday?
I heard some actual the cheers for Phil when he made a putt. I think it was to save a par, so we still got idiots out there cheering for him, even though he's double talked. He's been exposed as the fraud he's always been because of the whole live thing, and but people don't care. They're so used to cheering for Phil that. They don't know. I don't know. I still kind of like Justin Thomas. He's hitting the hell out of the ball. So he's only one back. And that course is playing tough though, man. They hit it in the hay. They got old-fashioned U.S. Open rough at that one.
They do. They literally have people that are assigned up and down the fairways to put a small little white flag in the spot where your ball is, so you can find your ball when you hit it in the rough.
Yeah, well, it's an old-fashioned course, and I don't think they have the distance to, protect themselves. So they got to make you hit it as straight as they possibly can, because they don't like those 12 underscores there. So
somebody yesterday, because it's the last time a big men's event was played here was the '99 Ryder Cup, and what hole did Justin Leonard hit that 40-foot putt on?
That par was it 17, 16 or 17? 17 maybe.
Somebody yesterday, I can't remember who it was. Somebody yesterday had almost the exact same putt, and the flag was in the same spot, and he made the putt, and he did the.
I was standing right there. I was about
down
4 deep, but I was standing right there and saw our idiots run across the green while the guy from Europe still had a putt to. If he'd made it, it would have half the hole, and it wouldn't have been over yet.
Yeah.
Our guy Tom Lehman led the charge too, running across the green. The Euros went crazy. Yeah. This was the Euro media went nuts because this was just proof that we shouldn't even play this game. We're such heathens over here in America. The game was invented in Scotland, and there should it stay. So. It was.
Did you see? Hey Pat, did you see who's back in coaching? Did you see who got another job? You'll love this one. Your guy.
Oh yeah, Torts.
Torts is back with
Torts.
Flyers. Torts is back. They never go away.
Which made me nostalgic for my favorite. Forget Hard Knocks and all this stuff. I've always told you. My favorite one ever was the 24/7 on HBO before the Flyers and the Rangers in 2012 with the foul-mouthed Peter Laviolette and the even fouler-mouthed John Tortorelli, except Tortorelli was with the Rangers then. And they both have jobs now. Laviolette landed again. He's in
Washington. Right? For like 2 years now. And I think hockey, I would put that sport up against any sport when it comes to F-bombs. The use of F-bombs in hockey is so impressive.
Why would you give Torts a 4-year contract?
And that's Chuck Fletcher.
Why would you? Because he's a moron.
Well, and I don't think he did it. I think someone above him said, "Chuck, we're hiring Torts."
And by the way, tougher. We want to get the old Flyers back. We want to get mean. We're not mean enough. You gotta, don't you have to? You go from one to the other. They're gonna get physical again with crazy Torts, who I don't think any player who ever played for him didn't hate him. Right? They basically
pretty much.
Hate him. Yeah.
Pretty much. So, but he's a character, man. He doesn't go away. He doesn't go away.
And none of them go away. We were saying, is Trotz hasn't gotten a job yet, right? I'm sure.
Probably Winnipeg.
Okay.
He's from there, so it makes sense for him to go back.
What's the deal? Aren't there any young hockey guys? Wasn't the guy from Tampa a fairly young guy when he started?
Yeah, John Cooper. Yeah,
that's worked out pretty well.
Yeah, we're old school, Pat. We like to hire guys that have been around.
Go
and drop a lot of F-bombs.
Go Avs. I want Dirk Cooper to win the cup, don't you? Dirk Cooper to win the cup.
You just like to see Minnesota sports burn.
Huh?
Why are you like that?
Well, though it would be fun. Plus, who wants to see some city down there in Florida win 3 straight cups? For
Pat, state of hockey, Florida.
Yeah, right. Well,
state of hockey.
Every time the Lightning open their gates, it's jam packed, and the across the bridge, the Rays could basically open the doors and let everybody in. They wouldn't get 8,000. So it's a much more a hockey town than it is baseball. That's for sure.
Mm-hmm. Amazing. All right, Pat. Enjoy your weekend, and we will talk to you on Monday and Tuesday.
All right, gentlemen. See ya.
All right, there he is, Rapping with Reusse, presented by Federated Mutual Insurance Company. They've been around for over 100 years, helping businesses maximize their success through risk management tools and resources. Find a full list of industries Federated protects at federatedinsurance.com, where it's our business to protect yours. See you guys.